Hi, I'm Brad Connors with iWealth, the CEO, and I have someone special with me today. JP Eykyn is with us today. And JP, I just want to introduce you. Obviously, you've been at iWealth for a while, but I want to talk a little bit about your story. I think if you grew up in Waseca, people know your story, but if you didn't, or if you're a little bit older, they might not know your story. So kind of walk me through this.
Yeah.
You're a high school graduate, right? And
Yeah.
then what kind of like sports, what did you do in high school? Give me a brief overview.
Yeah, so was involved in football and hockey and track. I had to give up baseball because I wasn't any good at it, actually. Not very. I was no good at it.
Yeah.
So played those three sports
was your
throughout
best?
high school. Funny enough, track was probably my best sport.
Okay.
Was fortunate to run with some really good runners that piggybacked us to a state championship in track. Not really lucky to have those runners with us, and met my now wife while I was in high school, and she ran cross country and played basketball. Although it's easy to forget about the basketball career, and then ran track also. So we kind of started talking in high school when we were in track, and then she went off to MSU and ran track and cross country and studied elementary education, and is now a teacher in Montgomery. And
yeah, God bless her.
Yeah, I know. She has all the patience, is what I say.
Right.
And then I went off and I played 2 years of junior hockey, not really knowing what I wanted to do, and there was a little bit of pushback on, you're just playing hockey. Yeah, you're not going to school.
Right.
But was really good for me to live on my own with my aunt and uncle, who were nice enough to take me in.
Right.
But taught me a lot of lessons. Went to practice every day, had to work hard, then had to go straight from there to work a job.
I want to talk about that, JP.
Yeah.
So, part of your story is hard work. Like you've done it all your life, but you used to have you'd worked for like the county or city or something, and then walk me through. Was that your summer, your senior year, or after, or what was that?
Yeah, after I graduated, not really knowing what I want to do, and having to pay for things on my own, I worked at the county highway department, and typically was shoveling asphalt or something like that, or digging a hole or whatever that is. They
put some muscle on.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted the young kid to strap on the boots and take care of some of those things, and then I'd go straight from there to go work out because I was playing hockey at the time. And then I'd go from working out to I still worked at the local pizza restaurant, Yellow Mushroom, and I'd work there until 9:30, 10 o'clock, and get up the next day and do it again. So
you had 2 jobs.
Yeah, and had to work out for sports and things like that.
Right.
And there'd be nights where I'd skate over in Dodge County, get home at 11. So it was just very routine oriented, and a lot of it it wasn't always the funnest, and some of it was hard because you miss hanging out with friends and things like that. But, it does instill values, and it instilled, I was making money and spending money at that point to pay for my things. And now it's making money and being able to save some also.
Right. Family's big for you. Sally's got a big family. You have a big family. I mean, a lot of weekends, if I'm going to get a hold of you, it's with somebody's family.
Yeah.
That's a value. Did you grow up with that value?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I come from, I have 6 siblings.
Okay.
So I have 2 older brothers.
That's a lot of Christmas presents.
Yeah. I have 4 younger sisters. And so I grew up going to a lot of my brother's events. And then ultimately now my sisters were forced to go to a lot of my events.
Sure.
So rightfully so, I make sure to make it to as many of my siblings' events as possible.
Right.
My sister is in tennis, and they just made it to state for her senior year, so she's super pumped about that. And then I have another sister who's playing hockey at Eau Claire, so continuing that hockey legacy, although she's not in the MIAC or at Gustavus. But I won't hold her to it.
Yeah.
And then my other sister's are both in school and studying for the next phase, which is awesome.
So walk me through. So you get off, you out of school, you go off and you do this 2 years of juniors, and then you end up at Gustavus, right? Yeah. Tell me about that real quick.
So just to backtrack a little bit, after my first year of playing juniors, I didn't know if I was going to go back for the second. I didn't get recruited. I was kind of, down about that and so on and so forth. And so went back for that second year and, ultimately ended up getting recruited by Gustavus and choosing them. So went to school there, knew it was a good school and things like that. Didn't really know yet what I wanted to do. Accounting had always kind of came easy to me in high school and things like that. You look
like the accounting kind of guy.
Yeah. So I went into accounting is where I started. And then I lived with some of, my teammates and they were studying financial economics and they wanted to be financial advisors. Eventually, and that really piqued my interest. I said, well, kind of what is that? Yeah. And that's when my sophomore year, I began to move away from the accounting path and more into the financial economic path. Yeah. But super fortunate, was able to study financial economics and play all 4 years at Gustavus, even though our senior year was cut short by some COVID things. Yeah. But once again, still having that sport to instill, it was class, workouts, practice, weekends you're gone, off playing. Yeah. So kind of in line with some of that hard work aspect of things.
So JP goes to Gustavus, gets his finance degree, and then you started an intern for me that senior year, right?
Yeah. I talk about, unfortunately our hockey season was cut short because of COVID, but during that time, maybe everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I was able to drive from St. Peter back to Waseca twice a week during the spring semester and started an internship at iWealth and spent a lot of time learning. Everyone says you learn 90% of your job at the job. Yeah. And that rings true from this position also.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You'll get used to in college the algorithms and the spreadsheets and things like that, but you really learn what it's like taking care of people. Mm-hmm. So, we fast forward to today a little bit. I mean, you've had some health stuff that you went through. That's part of your story. It's part of your makeup. As you now look at your career, married to Sally and, living in Waseca and things like that, like what gives you gratitude? What gets you up in the morning, gets you to the office, that kind of thing when it comes to serving clients?
And so as he mentioned, it was kind of derailed. And if funny enough, what gets me to go to the office every day is normalcy. Your everything is so disjointed, and you're spending time with the doctors and you're going to this appointment and that appointment, and everything is disjointed. You have no continuity or real schedule in your life because every day is different and you take every day with how you're feeling and things like that. So that's a big thing, and the support that I had from the family and the community really reshapes some of the importance. I don't show up to work every day. Maybe you don't want to hear this, but for the paycheck. I don't show up for the paycheck.
Why do you do what you do? If somebody asks you that, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's nothing I love more than sitting down across from a client and it start to click in their head that they're okay from a retirement standpoint or an estate planning standpoint, or we notice something that was way out of line in their plan and we get to fix it so that it's right going forward. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that I strive off of going to work every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. To wrap this up, tell me what JP does on the weekends. Like, what motivates you outside the office? Like, what's in your world?
Well, now my wife and I have a 1-year-old, 13-month-old puppy. She's still a puppy. Yeah. She still has the energy of one, that's for sure. But spend a lot of time in the fall going pheasant hunting. I've loved watching her grow, even in the 1 week that we've basically been able to pheasant hunt, because last year wasn't able to.
Right.
But spend a lot of falls doing that. A lot of family time. Last weekend was birthday and tennis and so on and so forth. So a lot of the weekends are filled with family time, pheasant hunting, but still enjoy golfing during the summer with a lot of my good buddies that have been buddies forever and still are. Is how those summer months are typically spent.
Yeah, I from afar watch you, like all the connections you have with your family, your friends from college, your friends from high school, like all that stuff. So cool to have you at iWealth. Really, really appreciate you being there, and I hope you still like coming through that door.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, guys. I'm glad you're able to tune in and hear more about who JP is. Have a great day.